Alright, what's going on everybody? Today I'll be going over my class recommendations for Shadowlands. I'm getting this question a ton as I'm going over a lot of classes on my channel and on my live stream, which you can find somewhere here on the screen. If you have any interest in checking out Shadowlands content or you want me to test out stuff for your class, you can find my stream somewhere here. But I'm also putting out a lot of class guides on this channel, and while I want to test out all of your classes, I might not be able to get to all of them or the ones that you want to see in the near future. So I figure I put this video together now to kind of answer some of those questions for those of you who are looking for some insight. But if you are interested in those class reviews and when I get to your class, be sure to be subscribed to my YouTube channel, which it's pretty funny to be honest because I never really subscribed to YouTube channels either. But if you are interested, be sure to be subscribed for those videos. But in today's video, I'll be breaking down all of the classes for them being as a safe pick going into Shadowlands, them being potentially risky, and then them being risky. Again, I'll explain why in the video, why I put them in those categories, but just take these as recommendations, okay? If you were my friend, I would tell you, hey, you're coming back to the game, these are the classes that I would pick, right? Doesn't mean that the classes I don't pick are going to be bad picks. It's just the classes that I would recommend to my close personal friends. Now, with all of that, we're hopping into my safe picks, my safe DPS specs and classes going into Shadowlands. So we have Mage, Rogue, Warlock, Warrior, and Death Knight. There's not much to say about these. I'll say why I put Mage, Rogue, and Warlock in this category is that they have 3 specs to choose from. A lot of you guys commonly say, I can't wait to play Sub-Rogue in Shadowlands, or how do you think Sub-Rogue's going to do in Shadowlands? Please, if you are someone that's looking to kind of, push Arena or Mythic Plus or whatever the content you're looking to pursue, if you're a little bit more on the competitive side, attaching yourself to a spec, not the class, is usually dangerous because you can get locked in. You invest so much time into a spec, you only want to play one spec, and if it doesn't perform well, you're just gimping yourself essentially, right? You want to be able to play any spec. So you want to look at playing Rogue rather than playing Outlaw Rogue. I'm not saying Outlaw Rogue won't be good, but it's a gamble kind of just banking on a spec to perform well. Mage, Rogue, and Warlock offer 3 specs. I mean, every class in this category usually excels in at least one or more areas of the game. Mage excels in Mythic Plus, Raid, and Arena right now, and has been like that for a long time. Rogue, same way. Warlock, not the best in Mythic Plus right now. They do well, but they're not the best. It's kind of like, why would you bring a Warlock when you can bring a Mage? But they do well in Raid, and they're very strong in Arena. So I don't expect that to change anytime soon. Rogue, Mage, and 3v3 Arena as a combo with any healer like Priest or Paladin is always going to just be a staple Arena comp. That's not going to go anywhere. It's been like that for so long, just based on the amount of CC that they bring, right? They bring so much CC together, and with a Priest, you have every DR. They have so much burst available that I don't see that changing, and currently how they are on Shadowlands, I don't see that changing either. Warlock's getting a lot of nerfs, but this is the same way to BFA. Their survivability got nerfed a lot, and then it got buffed back again because it was too weak, and then they were crazy. So I don't think Blizzard knows how to tune Warlocks for Arena. They've just always been so strong, and at least PvP. Warrior and Death Knight have at least 2 specs to choose from depending on the type of content that you're interested in. Death Knight's getting a lot of love. Warrior's getting a lot of love with a lot of new abilities coming back to the game. Ignore Pain, this is for PvP at least. Shattering Throw, Intervene, they're getting a ton of mobility through their legendaries. Death Knight is just getting a complete rework on a lot of their abilities. Frost is looking very decent. Unholy's looking crazy. So I just expect these specs to do well regardless of what we see happening to the classes. I just don't see that changing anytime soon, and I don't think you can go wrong with any of these specs. Again, if you're my boy, if you're my friend that's coming over, we're staying up all night playing Shadowlands launch, what spec do I play, what class do I play? I'm like, yo, you should play one of these. I think they'll be safe. Now, going into my potentially risky picks, the only reason that these specs are in here is that they are just specs, not classes, okay? Demon Hunter, obviously Havoc. We're talking about DPS. Shadow Priest, they're getting a big rework. I don't expect them to be bad. Shadow Priests are like never the best in all forms of content, but they're always just like, if you played Mario Kart back in the day, it's like Mario. He's like really well-rounded, right? Like they always do well, decently well in all categories. They look really strong. They look extremely fun. It's just that if Shadow Priest gets nerfed, then you have no DPS specs to choose from for Priest. Same with Windwalker. Windwalker needs a rework. It's been the same for so long. They were super strong in Legion, and then in BFA, They didn't do that well in PvE. They did very well in PvP towards the early middle part of the expansion, and they've been a staple for Arena for a hot minute now. So again, these are all strong specs. Demon Hunter Havoc. Demon Hunter's getting a lot of changes. Some people are a little unhappy. I think in Arena they're still going to do well, so you know, that's why I'm putting them in the potentially risky. You just have to keep in mind that if you pick one of these, if that spec's not doing well, you're kind of SOL. Okay, that's why they're in this category. Otherwise, I have no problem putting Shadow Priest in the safe picks, Windwalker, and then Demon Hunter as well. Okay, so just keep that in mind. You're banking on the spec here, not the class, and that's what makes it potentially risky. Now, going into my risky, again, I'm not saying these risky classes are going to be bad. I know some of you are looking forward to them because these are some of the more fun specs to pick up because they're unique and different, but that's what makes them risky. We have Retribution Paladin, Enhancement, Elemental, Feral, Balance, and Hunter. Retribution, you have one spec to choose from, and they never perform that well. I mean, in Wrath of the Lich King, Ret was pretty strong. I think in WoD, Ret was a lot of fun. In Legion, they did really good just because they had range on the Divine Storm, which they're getting back, I think, through a Legendary. It's just Ret never has staple comps. They don't bring too much to Mythic Plus or Raid content. There's just better melee to choose from. So it's like, why do you bring a Ret? And that's kind of the mindset with a lot of competitive players now. Enhancement, if you're playing Enhancement, you only have one spec, right? Like, you have to be open to playing Enhancement and Elemental. You have to be open to playing Feral and Balance to give you those two specs. But the problem with Enhancement and Elemental, it's not like Frosty, K, and Unholy, like where they're both melee. You either have a melee spec or a range spec. And for some people, going from melee to range, like even for me, that's not like a easy thing to do, right? Like, you're literally going from playing a range spec to a melee spec. And that's what makes it risky, because you might be a melee player, you're used to playing melee classes, and then you're banking on playing Enhancement, right? Well, then you're not really getting the, all out of the class, where you have two specs to choose from. Same with Feral and Balance. And even though Enhancement and Elemental are getting some kind of rework, they just, even then, aren't these crazy top performers in their, in their respective categories. And Elemental, not the craziest in Raid or Mythic Plus. Enhancement, I know they do decent now, but in Arena, they just have been bad for so long. And the problem with these hybrid classes is that they do really well at the start of the expansion. If you think back to it, Feral was really strong at the start of Legion and BFA. If you don't remember this, Enhancement was crazy. Elemental, not so much, but Balance was also crazy. And a lot of that had to do with their off healing, their survivability, like how tanky they were because of their off healing. And that's how it is with hybrid specs when it comes to PvP. Their off healing is just outrageous. Like, it's so high right now. We're following the same pattern. It's always been like this. If you've been playing for a long time, you know that they go into this expansion and they're healing more than actual healers, and then it gets nerfed, and then you lose a lot of like what makes your class unique is being a hybrid class where you can off heal. Well, when you get that nerfed, it's like you lose part of the toolkit, and I feel like Blizzard never knows how to balance these classes correctly. So they're just risky, in my opinion. They're fun. Like, I used to love playing Elemental. They're fun, but they're just, in my opinion, a risky spec. If you're putting in a ton of time farming your legendaries, your conduits, your soulbinds, you're doing all this effort to get the class going, you're doing all these world quests just to find out your class isn't a top performer, and then these losers won't invite you to their group when you're just trying to do some fun casual content. So Hunter, I almost don't want to put it in risky, but I don't know if Blizzard knows how to balance Hunter. Like, what is survival? I don't even know. Like, they're pretty good right now in BFA, but they only do good when Feral and Hunter are doing well together because of jungle for PvP. BM is doing really good in PvE content right now. I guess you could put Hunter in potentially risky, but I had a hard time placing it there, which is why I put it in risky. I'm not saying Hunter is going to be bad. I'm just saying it's going to be risky, okay? Marksman, I still feel like, although players are saying it feels better, a lot of my Hunter friends are saying it just feels like a debate. Like, it's not. It feels clunky in a way. That's why they're there. Again, these are just my opinions. I will be doing these on healers soon, but at the end of the day, it really is your choice. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.